Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
If you're new on this platform and you haven't been here before, just a brief introduction. We use the first 15 minutes for diving into a topic. So today I want to talk about energy. And then we have half an hour time for a guided meditation. And at the end, there's time for questions or reflections. And if you have a question, it's good to type it in the chat and put question in capital letters so I can hopefully find it. And there was one question yesterday, which I come back to probably after the meditation. I see where it fits. Yeah. And maybe you can bring, as I'm talking about energy today, bring the appropriate amount of energy to the session. And that could mean to decide not to cook your breakfast while listening to the talks. Could mean to put some of your devices away, which could distract you, or to close your door, put a paper in front of your door saying you're off duty. What could be like a slight micro ingredient for being here with an appropriate amount of energy. And that could mean laying back, lying in to a chair. And it could mean standing up. And I start with the story. I'm reading every morning this week a story from a little book. This is the book. It has been, the stories in this book were written down by disciples of abbot Linji, who is the founder of the Linji tradition, the Linji school, or also known as Rinzai school, so a very famous teacher in the 9th century. And disciples wrote down his morning talks he gave at his monastery. And even though he lived in China, these papers were found only recently, like in the last, 60 years or something. It's not written there, it's not mentioned, or maybe more like 40 years, in Tibet. And it's been translated from Tibetan language into Hungarian and from Hungarian into German language. And I don't think you can get this book anywhere else. Yeah. So one day, Master Linji visited a monastery in the neighborhood. The abbot proudly showed him how many bamboo torches his monks were producing. "I have diligent, hard-working monks, Linji. Just look. We have long since stopped working to maintain the monastery. We have amassed a huge fortune. Grand Lord Wang could envy us. However, we toil, like we struggle, day and night." "And why are you toiling so hard, good abbot?" Linji asked him. "I will tell you, my friend," the abbot began. "We have to make so many bamboo torches because they can be bought for good money in the city. But we need the money to become rich and no longer have to work. Just a few more years and we won't bother with work anymore. We will just look after ourselves, drink tea all day long, and talk about the teachings. We meditate and listen to the birds singing in the garden. The abbot boasted about his plan and saw himself in a carefree future in his dreams. But Linji's anger woke him up. Even a fool can earn a lot of money with a lot of work, abbot. No science is needed for that. Besides, a lot of money does not mean carelessness, but rather a lot of worries. You should not have lots of money, but enough. Not lots of time, but enough. Don't work a lot, but enough. Don't meditate a lot, but enough. But your mind can't comprehend that, good abbot. Linji shouted angrily, but then added quietly, I feel sorry for you, but I feel even sorrier for your monks. When you ask them to split their lives in two, first to be poor slaves and later to become wise empires, you are asking the impossible of them. You can't hammer wooden nails into nothing, abbot. Your plan is madness. Stop the work. But Linji never found out whether they had abandoned the unreasonable plan in the neighboring monastery and stopped their pointless toiling. In his anger, he never looked again. People can only decide such things for themselves anyway. So, what is it? The appropriate amount of practice. Linji said, like, don't meditate too much, just enough. Some qualities support us in our practice. They release suffering, and they are mentioned in a list we call the 7 factors of enlightenment. And I'm quite sure that every one of you here has experienced those factors in varying degrees. You might not recognize you might not recognize them in your meditation. So it's good to know those factors so it's easier to recognize them. And as you recognize them, they grow. So as I name the 7 factors briefly, just feel what's going on in your body. Maybe some of them you immediately know, yeah, that's it. Or some of them you think like, I've never experienced that before, which probably isn't true. So the first of the 7 factors is sati, mindfulness. It comes first. It's crucial to recognize the other factors, like not too loose and slack mindfulness and not too tight and force. I heard one teacher once, she explained it like with the stairs and the handle of the stairs. If you hold on too tight on the handle, you can't move. If you hold on too loose, you're just going forward and backward. You're not safe anymore. So, and then there come 3 brightening, the 3 qualities which brighten and enliven the mind. And those are investigation, energy, and joy. And they lead to the other. As you investigate, it raises up energy in the body. And energy is also translated, and just feel how that does, what that does in your body. What reaction might there be? As heroic effort, endless striving, tireless energy. So the Pali word for it is virya. And then we have 3 qualities which are calming and quieting the mind, which are tranquility, samadhi, and equanimity. And when these factors are balanced, that provides the optimal conditions for insights and for awakening. So it's about balance. And to experience the ordinary, since I'm talking this week about simplicity, like even I'm talking about energy today, it's embedded in the topic of simplicity and renunciation. To experience the depth in the ordinary and calm down amidst the chaos of modern life is really hard. We are like do strive often for some really special experience. There's a lot of offering at the spiritual platforms which have the word ecstatic in them. Like you can learn ecstatic dance, you can go to ecstatic breathwork, ecstatic holistic body work. And the Buddha didn't talk about anything ecstatic. He emphasized the value of peace over all worldly pleasures. He didn't mention ecstatic. He talked about peace. Like in the Samyutta Nikaya, he said he is quoted as saying, one who is peaceful in body, peaceful in speech, and peaceful in mind has attained peace. And just feel like how peace lands in your body, and how ecstasy lands in your system. And what gets us in the way to experience peace is our identification with thoughts, with emotions, with sensations, with anything. We even identificate with our practice as if we should be in control with the whole process, what meditation is, as if we should be in control of our life. And we make our practice personal, as if it's my practice, as the practice is who I am, as if I'm a better person when my practice is like this or like that. So listening to the words like energy and tireless energy, heroic energy, endless striving can touch some strong conditioning in us. So we try to meet all reactions with friendliness. And you are already practicing this factor of energy because you're here. It takes some energy to be here. And there's this paradox I was mentioning the other days. The Buddha gave us really clear instructions of what to do. And like we talk about those instructions on this platform. Like you can go to the Dharma library and find like so many things the Buddha gave instructions on. And when we dive deeper in the practice, we recognize that the deepest freedom comes from letting go and just be, letting be. It's not about doing. And this is really again the stream, because in daily life, there's a strong addiction to doing and busyness. We need to be wise with our energy. Otherwise, it would just lead us into more doing and not more busyness, even in our meditation. And this can be very subtle, that we oversee it, that we have the feeling, this striving for something, this going for something, this wanting my practice to be a certain way, and that this is part of the path, but actually it's too much of a misguided energy there. We can cultivate a Dharma-like energy where it's just about the right, the appropriate amount. And this is for you to find out. The energy which is just centering around me is creating tension around our practice. It's getting tired. We try to get more of this in our practice and less of that in our practice. And we create ideas about our practice, how our practice should be. It's really tiring. So find out for yourself what's the appropriate amount of energy, kind of the setting the right conditions is energy. Like energy, the enlightenment factor of energy is often translated as the right effort or appropriate diligence. I was talking about that yesterday in the last 15 minutes. If you want to go back to that, about like setting the right conditions, preventing unwholesome states from arising and nourishing wholesome states when they're there. And this is diligent effort. And this brings the energy, which then eventually leads to joy, brings joy in our practice. And energy also wants to keep us in the practice. We just want to be there. Yeah, I talk about joy tomorrow. So, time for meditation. Take a seat or a position which is supporting the appropriate amount. And take your time really to settle in. You can just be curious for, what is it, the appropriate amount. So in our position, we have, like, we present the balancing of the 7 factors of enlightenment, that we don't want to be like too loose. Even if you're laying down, you don't want to fall asleep. And if that happens, it's also fine. Be curious to the moment when falling asleep happens and when you come out of it. And we don't want to be like too much striving. So, how can your position be between too much and not enough, but just right? And at the beginning of our meditation, it could be good for you, supportive, to just help the nervous system a bit more to relax, to calm down. And this could be by placing one hand on your chest and one hand on your forehead. And just, it needs time to sink in. Like, you could also place one hand on the neck and one hand on the forehead. And it really does have an effect, but stay there with your hands. Or even both hands touching each other could be comforting, soothing. Or maybe with your hands touching your blanket, your jumper, the wooden floor. Also, breathing out long can support you in arriving here. And while breathing out long, maybe your shoulders could drop down more. Maybe they kind of sink through the space of the kidneys, through the pelvis down to the earth. And just recognizing how you are here at this very moment. And allowing to be here as you are, like inviting care and friendliness and compassion into your practice, like a really warm friendliness. While you're just sitting here, standing here, laying here, feeling the breath moving your body. And feeling into your posture. Maybe you want to make micro movements to adjust the posture. Feeling the energy of the inhalation, which is lifting you up, which is expanding the body. And the energy of the exhalation, which is softening the body, maybe relaxing, soothing. If you are here with tiredness or little energy, with the inhalation, you could straighten your spine maybe a bit, feeling really the uplifting movement of the inhalation. Maybe even breathing in a bit longer, deeper, expanding your lungs. When you're here with a very agitated mind, some kind of busyness, you could make your exhalation longer and allowing the whole body to sink down into the ground with the exhalation. And maybe it's just appropriate for you, the inhalation, to feel the natural movement of expansion. With the exhalation, feeling the natural movement of the exhalation. Nothing special, just this. You can practice like this, just being with your breath, or practice in your own way. And one invitation I give in is to sense into the energy sensations of your feet. Just feeling, how does energy move in your feet at this very moment? Without needing to understand anything, without needing to label. Maybe it's cold or warm, tingling, empty, stiff, whatever. Letting drop down all labels and just sense. And sensing the energy in your calves and lower legs. And sensing the energy in your knees. Kind of listening to your cells with your cells, listening to your tissue with your tissue. And listening to the energy in your thighs. And sensing the energy in your pelvis. Sensing the energy in your belly and your lower back. Listening to the tissue in this area, to the movements of energy. And sensing the energy in your rib cage, between the heart and the lungs, and in the heart and the lungs, between the ribs. And sensing the energy in your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, and your hands. Can it be a direct experience from the body, in the body, with the body? And sensing the energy in your face, your chin, your cheeks, the nose, the eyes, the forehead. Sensing the energy in the head and maybe in the space around and above the head. Feeling the whole body as one energy field of energy. And allowing the energy in the body to melt into the energy around the body. Maybe even sensing thoughts as just energy waves. Inhaling deeper when you're tired. Exhaling longer when you're agitated. Widening open. energy flow in the body, around the body. If some area feels especially yummy or juicy, you could stay with this for the last minute, or maybe just staying with the sensations of opening, widening into space. May our stream of energy be filled with friendliness, kindness, and compassion, and be beneficial for our lives and the lives of our dear ones. And may this energy of care and compassion reach out into this world. May all beings everywhere feel safe and protected. May there be peace on earth. Please. Thank you so much for joining this practice.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.